So, good day, guys. Oh, it feels good to be back on the bike. It's been, well, for you guys it won't be any time at all, but I have literally not even looked at this bike for 3 weeks. And, well, just a bit more than that, actually. It's just been the weather, and with work and different commitments, I just haven't had the time to get on the bike. You know, every time it's been a fairly decent day, good enough to ride, I've had other stuff to do, you know. It's just been one of those sort of months, really. And it is super cold today. I mean, I looked at the thermometer this morning before I left, and it was 3 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was 3 degrees Celsius, just above freezing. There's ice all over the cars and still on the lawns and that, you know. And for that reason, I've got my thermals on throughout my body, and I've even put the thermal lining on this this jacket because, yeah, man, it is absolutely Baltic out here today. But you know, the only thing now that's actually cold on me is my chin and my ankles and the tips of my my fingers. But you know, I'll put up with that because it just feels great to be back on this bad boy. But I did check my tyres. You know, the temperature has been getting colder and colder. It's been dropping, and you know, the bike has not moved for literally 3 weeks. I put it on carpet and underlay to sort of, you know, help the tyres a little bit. But I thought I'd better check them, and good job I did. I had 10 psi less in the rear tyre than I should have, and 5 in the front. And you know, probably would have been okay, but it's always good to just sort of check your tyres, especially when the temperature sort of changes a little bit, and you know, you haven't ridden it for a while, because your tyres are, you know, the thing that are touching the ground, and we don't want that to be the end of you because you haven't sorted your tyres out. So yeah, I mean, while we're on that topic, real quickly, guys, if you are riding a Street Bob 2018 and above with the Dunlop tyres, the tyre pressure on the front is 30 psi, and on the rear it's 40 psi. So yeah, just a little bit of information there for you guys. It's all in the handbook anyway, if you can find it. It's like trying to read a map upside down with a blindfold on, that manual sometimes. But anyway, guys, let's get down to business, and let's have a little chat about what I want to chat about today. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys today about was, and I've already touched on this before in a few other videos, and I actually do have my very, very ever first vlog, motor vlog, ever, is basically about this sort of topic, and it is a Harley Davidson a good bike for a beginner or a learner? And you know, it's quite sort of not controversial, but you know, that kind of, it's a very subjective question, really, because so if you have like zero experience, then you know, getting on a Harley Davidson 114 street glide or road glide or something like that is probably not the best thing to be doing. You know, I mean, they're very heavy, they maneuver well enough, but you know, that's a lot of bike for someone to just sort of get on the first go. But that said, there is no reason why most of the Harley range wouldn't be a bad choice for your first bike. Now obviously there's a lot of factors that are going to affect this, and it's all a matter of an opinion, how sort of, you know, how safe you feel, how confident you feel on a bike, all that kind of stuff. But if I give you a little bit of history of how I came to decide that this was going to be my very first bike, and this is my very, very first bike, you know, if I go through just a little bit of my sort of history on riding bikes and all that sort of stuff, give you an idea of how I came to becoming my first bike. And basically, prior to taking my test, I had no experience whatsoever on a bike, other than maybe 2 or 3 goes on a scrambler, or you know, a dirt bike in a friend's field. I've had some ATV or, you know, quad bike experience, that sort of thing. But as far as motorbikes on the road goes, absolutely nothing. Gears were a little bit strange for me, but I knew how to do it. But in the UK, you have a thing called the CBT, and the CBT is basically a test that you have to do before you can get on anything bigger than a 125. So the idea is you go into a sort of car park area, the instructor teaches you how to do a U-turn, figure of 8, you know, weaving in and out of stuff, how to emergency stop, and basically just how to ride a bike on its basic terms, you know. And then you go out on the road for a couple hours, and if you're safe enough and you know your highway code and all that sort of stuff, you get your CBT, and then basically you can go out on the road with a 125 with an L plate on, and, you know, go and kill yourself or whatever it is you want to do. And then you progress to your full motorbike license once you've got the CBT and you've done the you know, the stuff on the computer, the test on the computer, whatever it's called, I can't think right now. And the motorbike test consists of two tests within that test. And the first one is the Mod 1, which again is like a car in a car park type affair, no traffic or anything like that. And you've got to do emergency stops, swerving, all that sort of stuff. It's a slow control, just stuff to make sure you are in control of that bike. 600cc maximum and minimum bike engine. And then you do your Mod 2, which is on the road, doing your road test, you know, all the stuff that comes with that. And then I was free to go and do whatever I wanted. I could buy whatever bike I desired. And I always wanted a Harley, always wanted a Harley. And so I went straight down the Harley dealer and got myself sat on an Iron 883. Instantly fell in love with the bike, the way it handled, everything about it, you know. And that's where we get into the nitty-gritty of this vlog. It's all about how you feel about a bike. You've got to go out and you have to test ride them. And I would work my way up to it. So I would start on an Iron 883, go up to a 1200, you know, maybe even a 48 1200 like I did. You know, try a few Sportsters out just to begin with, see how you feel about it. Once you're used to that sort of little bit more power and the weight of the bike and all that sort of stuff, then move up to a street bob, maybe try a fat bob, that kind of thing. And if you're still not there, go up a bit further, you know. But you have to go and test ride these bikes, and you've got to just take your time. You know, I had so many friends say to me, don't get a big bike, you're going to kill yourself, it's going to be too heavy, you don't know what you're going to be doing with it, and you're going to throw it, you're going to drop it, it's going to be in the hedge before you know it. So I was a bit like, you know, oh, maybe they are right. And then I had other people say, just get the bike you want, and just be careful, you know. If you're going to go flat out straight away trying to get your knee down on a, you know, an 1800 Harley Davidson, and you've had no previous experience riding a bike, no doubt you're going to crash the thing. So it's all about being careful, basically, and just enjoying the ride. It's a cruiser, it's not a sports bike. We just want to be nice cruising like I am now. I'm not hammering the guts out of this bike today. A lot of ice and slipperiness on the roads, but I'm just enjoying the ride. And that's what you've got to do when you do a test ride. How you feel on it, how comfortable you feel on it, do you see yourself riding this bike, does it suit you, and how well can you ride it. You know, if you are really struggling to ride a bike, that bike is probably going to end up in the hedge somewhere eventually. You know, you will get used to a bike. I had a Road King only, what, 3 or 4 weeks after I'd passed my test as a sort of demonstrator bike while I rental bike while I got my bike staged 1. And you know, the first few hours on that bike, you know, I'll hold my hand up, I was a little bit nervous. It was a lot heavier than I was expecting, and yeah, you know, completely different seat position to what I was normally used to. Feet position with the boards, you know, it's a completely different beast. But you know, a couple days in, I was in love with that bike. I absolutely knew how it worked, how to handle it, you know, and the confidence builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and you just get used to that bike. That's why I always say when I review a bike, it's a bike that you'll get used to. It's like, you know, I hated the Fat Bob. I did not like the way that thing cornered at all. But if you bought one, I'm sure you would get used to that handling, you know, that the way it feels around the corners. And that's the thing with a Harley or any bike. Do not be scared of the power. The power is nothing. It really is nothing. You get used to that. Again, it's a gradual thing, but it's about getting used to the way the bike handles, knowing what corners, you know, it can take at what speed, how the brakes work and everything like that. And a test ride is only going to show you so much, and that's going to be really where you're going to have your first impressions. Until you've got the bike and you've had it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, you know, you're never gonna have the full potential of that bike straight away. So, is a Harley Davidson a good first bike? In my opinion, yes it is. There are a few little things you have to consider though. You know, the weight of the bike and your height. Can you touch the floor with your feet? That sort of thing. And most importantly, when you go and test ride it, how much did you enjoy it? You know, I enjoyed that iron. Oh, well, I thought that was a bike for me. And then I got on this thing and my mind changed instantly. I was like, no, I don't care how much more money it is. I'm getting this bike because I don't want to be trading it in again later on. And I do get asked this question quite a bit. You know, is the Street Bob going to be good for a first bike? In my opinion, unless you're an idiot that can't ride a bike properly, you know, you're dangerous and all that sort of stuff, then 100% yes, this bike is a good first bike. And I'm proof of that, you know. I'm still alive, 7 months in. Had a few little near misses, but that's more to do with me taking chances than the bike itself. And so yeah guys, I'm gonna leave it there, but I'm hoping this kind of helps you in some way a little bit. You know, if a Harley was your first bike, let me know about it. If you are thinking about getting a Harley as your first bike but you're a bit scared, come and have a chat with me on the comments below. They're a great company, guys. These new bikes really are reliable and they are doing well. They ride absolutely phenomenally, and you know, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with this bike. But like I said, I'm going to leave it there. So if you're new to the channel, please give me a like and a subscribe, and hit that bell button if you want to have updates on the spot when I release new stuff. But I'm going to leave it there, guys, because there's time for me to go, and I've been Street Bob Vlogger. Woo!